Okay, so yesterday, for those who joined us on the first part of the Getting Healthy workshop, we're going to go over.
Breaking up a little bit, Anna. You're breaking up a little bit.
Okay, is it better now?
Yes.
Okay.
It-
Okay. Let me know if it does get out too much, okay?
okay.
Okay. So we're going to talk again about the model, the psychological, social, and biological model. And again, go over how to either create health or we're creating illness. And today we're going to learn about the, again, go over 10 factors that are impacting our health, right? So we talked about yesterday the psychological factors, which were the coping styles, self-trust, esteem, strength. The biological factors for nutrition, physical exercise, stress, and how we need sleep, and the importance of it. And we also talked about the social factors that were same, so very important, and how they affect our health for the relationship stability and communication skills. Because most people think that there are only two things we can do for our health, right? So which is exercise and eating right. They are very important, but there are several factors, again, that you all know about and talked about, and we are going to examine more fully today. Again, what's impacting your health? That's the question that you need to ask yourself. Is it the psychological factors that we mentioned, the social factors, or biological factors? So we're going to go into this and deeper into it. The coping. We're all coping constantly. Changing our efforts is the way to master, reduce, or tolerate a stressful situation. So that's our effort. We're always trying to change and cope with it, master it, and to remember, we have to go ahead and try to tolerate a stressful situation and how to handle it. Coping effectively. This is the ability to cope effectively with the different situations that affect his health in two ways. So let's see what we're talking about here. Effective coping with problems minimizes stress, minimize the tendency stress has to make more vulnerable to illness. So I already know that I'm super stressed. I need to find ways of coping effectively so it will minimize my stress, because we all know stress causes illness, right? Effective coping with illness, when it occurs, leads to superior recovery and improved health. Why? Because we're able to manage, able to minimize that stress and affect health. So when you have a problem, there's two, you have to look at it, the parts of coping. How you think about a problem and what you do to resolve it. In the chat box, you can put there for me if any would like to engage here and answer this question. What are some of the ways you think of that people cope effectively with the emotional stress that can come from our difficult problems? So if you'd like in that box, that would be great. Think of ways that you cope effectively with the emotional stress that can come from a difficult problem. Sylvia, do you see any?
Juanita, breathing techniques or meditation?
Yes, great answer, Juanita. Yes, it's super important. that's a great way of releasing that emotional stress that can come when we have a difficult problem. How about you, Sylvia? Do you have any?
One of the things I deal with stress is by actually, for me, is walking and
Yeah.
getting an outdoors. I have to remove myself to think clearly. Tanya saying getting all the facts before acting, having all the information. And I think that's excellent, Tanya, because sometimes you have to know your pros and your cons and what's gonna come up with the best result, whatever situation you're at. That's excellent. Excellent.
Yes. Another one that's really good is seeking support, because if I need to talk to somebody, it's going to help me release and cope with that problem.
Right.
Mhm. Good answers, guys.
Mhm.
So here's an example of unsuccessful copers. They respond to challenges, and maybe you know somebody like that. I know I do. Respond to challenges with denial and avoidance. So they think that they're going to, by avoiding it or denying there's a problem, that's how they respond. So that's unsuccessful. They're not doing really anything to address the issue. Also, there's people that withdraw from problems or they react impulsively without taking the time to seek the best solution. So that's something that Tanya was mentioning, that
Mhm.
it's better to get all your facts, and that way you find the best answer to resolve the problem. Some other people get angry and aggressive, or on the flip side, they can get depressed and passive. Other people blame themselves, or they might blame you for their problems or others. And I've known people that done that before. They'll blame other people for their problems. And sometimes it's just outlandish that they want to blame somebody else for what's happening to them because of their own issues. Also, they don't appreciate, unsuccessful copers do not appreciate the value of approaching challenges with a sense of hope, mastery, and personal control. So some people do not want to learn from this. Instead of saying, oh, I have to go through this, it'll make me stronger, they don't appreciate the value of approaching any kind of challenges. So instead they approach it with a negative thing. So the successful copers have many coping strategies. They're flexible in adjusting their responses to each particular situation. They also show flexibility, foresightness, and also they're able to accurately, and this is the key, accurately, rationally appraise the situation. So they take everything into consideration. They respond to life challenges by taking responsibility for finding a solution to their problems. So if they already know that going through a stressful situation, they're going to respond to that lifestyle challenge by taking responsibility to find a solution to their own problems. They approach problems with a sense of competence, that they know they have that self-confidence that they're going to be able to resolve this problem. They're also able to assess the situation, get advice and support with others, and work out a plan that will be a win-win. So they're seeing it more in a positive manner, and that it is something that has a solution. Two judgments we always make in a stress situation. Is there a threat? Am I competent to handle it? So these are two questions that you should ask yourself, and that will lower your stress level actually if you ask yourself these questions. So let's say, for example, you're walking faster to cross the street safely. So what happens when you're walking with night and you're walking to cross the street? You don't have that much stress, right? Because you did what you had to do. You crossed the street fast to cross the street safely, and the situation is handled and there's no stress. So now, however, if you don't take the appropriate action, or let's say that you cross the street and it's in red and you know there's cars coming, this causes stress. And again, stress is a very negative factor of health. So it is important to maximize your ability to cope successfully. Again, the appraisal need to be rational and realistic. Otherwise, you will not be successful in coping with the problem and you will be left with stress. Unrealistic appraisals. Examples of unrealistic appraisals that result in negative experience and stress. So sometimes people will think they have unrealistic expectations, right? When you have unrealistic expectations, the results are likely to be depression, helplessness, anger, anxiety, blaming, dependency, which create a negative cycle, which has a negative impact on your health. So here we have examples of people that realistic appraisals. People who are important to me should always love me. I must achieve a success all the time. My doctor will cure all my health problems. But who is in charge of your health? Is it your doctor? No, it's us. So now we're here overcoming appraisals. So these are 5 strategies for overcoming dysfunctional appraisals. So we have here counters. So what counters? Counters a word or a phrase that we say to ourselves to avoid focusing on beliefs that are not in our best interest. For example, I'm not good until I'm perfect. You could say, not true, stop. When you find yourself saying that, you need to use a word, either a counter word or a phrase, so that way you can, it's for your best interest. So you go into that and start thinking negatively and start stressing yourself out. 2, alternative interpretation example. A man's going through divorce says, I need to give myself a break, or it's natural to feel this way. What's the worst that can happen? So first we have to answer on a danger scale of 1 to 10, using your coping skills to figure out how to handle this and reduce your stress level to 5 or less. So we have to learn about these things so we're able to reduce our stress level. Identifying worst scenario. Again, if it's a worst that can happen in this, like if you have a problem, think about it. What's the worst scenario that's going to happen if this problem? That way you can lower your, by thinking about that, what's the worst case scenario? You kind of have an idea, you're focused, and you're saying, okay, this is the worst case scenario, but that doesn't mean that that's going to be the definite situation that I'm going. Relabeling, it's changing a negative label to a positive one. Example, someone isn't good at a task, so they call themselves stupid, label themselves. To make it positive, you can change the label to, I need to practice. And how about developing new skills? So overcoming appraisals, you can do this by developing new skills by more capacity to deal by example, money management skills, public speaking skills, social skills that remove fears. For example, even going on Zoom, a lot of us didn't know how to practice Zoom. We didn't know how to host a meeting, but after developing these skills, now we are able to do this. And now it's less stressful and less fear that we have by doing this more often. Self-trust. So the is the belief in your ability to organize and carry out the courses of action required to manage situations. Beliefs about your self-trust strongly affect your motivation to do something, your ability to achieve it. So if you believe it, you can do it, basically. Self-trust and health. People with high self-trust have a strong belief in their ability to carry out their plans and greater ability to maintain health behavior changes. So if you trust yourself, you're going to be able to carry out your plan, your health. So for example, if you're running, you know you're going to be able to do it. If you trust yourself, that you believe that you can carry it out, you're going to be able to change your health from illness to health. There's 3 habits of high self-trust people. They're action-oriented, they have flexibility, and they're persistent. So if they know they have to change their habits, they're going to start doing an action, start it flexible. If they can't run in the morning, they're going to run in the afternoon. They're persistent. They're going to keep doing it until they see that their health is getting better, their stress management is getting better, anxiety. 5 ways to increase self-trust. Live a life of goals. Set achievable goals. Do small steps. So don't say I'm going to run 3 miles and you haven't walked for years or run. I myself don't like to run too much, but I can walk. I like to walk. So I set myself some goals and say I'm going to walk 1.5 miles today. If I walk 2, well, that's great. But I want to have a goal that's achievable. Seek out good role models. If you have friends that run or walk, go walking with them. So that way they can also encourage you to do it. Talk to yourself in a positive manner, always in a positive manner, because you have to be sometimes your own cheerleader. Sometimes we don't have people around us all the time. So you have to say, hey, I'm going to go walk today, or I'm going to eat healthy today. And also exert sufficient effort. Do what you need to do to get that goal done. And with this, I'm going to present now Sylvia de la Mora will take over the presentation.
And let me make you host.
Okay, thanks, Sylvia.
Why doesn't it let me make you host?
If it doesn't, Sylvia, that's okay. I could just go ahead and start.
Okay.
I'll start the slides, okay?
Okay, perfect.
Okay,
we're going to start now on our session 4. Again, psychological, social, and biological. And that's part of our health, what's the health illness, how it actually shows up on us and what we can do to help this. Next. Self-esteem, the way we regard ourselves, to the extent of which we see ourselves as capable and worthwhile. This is something that every single person, we have an idea of what our self-esteem is, and this is going to play a big part and a big role on how we function in life and how we take care of ourselves. Next. Self-esteem and health. Self-esteem affects our attitudes, expectations, decisions, and performance, all of which are connected to a healthy behavior and our overall state of health. If we think we're capable of doing things and we're worthwhile, we take actions that are actually going to be a benefit to ourselves. So we always have to know, what is our self-esteem? How do we go about this? Do we know how we stand about how we feel about ourselves? And those questions are things that we are the only ones that can answer them. And we always have to kind of find out, where are we? Where is our self-esteem? What do we really think about it? Next. And here are the 6 pillars of self-esteem. The practice of living consciously, always knowing what we're going to do, why we're doing things, not doing things just because somebody tells us, but knowing why we're doing it, the consciousness of it. The practice of self-acceptance, knowing what we can do and what we cannot do. There are things that sometimes we all have, we're experts at, we have more abilities to do, and there are things that are more challenging for us. And that's excellent because we know where we stand. We know what are the things that we can exceed in and what are the things that we have to work on. The practice of self-responsibility. Sometimes we can do things and we know that we did something wrong, and we'll say to ourselves, you know what, I should have done this better, or I should have done X, Y, and Z. And another times we'll put blame when something goes wrong and it was one of our own actions. So taking responsibility for our actions is very important. And that's what self-responsibility is. Because sometimes we'll put blame on others for things that we're the ones that actually made those decisions. The practice of self-assertiveness, being assertive and being comfortable with the decisions that you make and knowing why you made those decisions is something that, again, each of us knows why we're making the decisions at the time that we make it is the best decision for ourselves. And we know we're going to be able to move forward. The practice of living purposely. There's a purpose for everything we do. I always tend to say, sometimes we don't want to, maybe you don't want to do certain things that are good for us. Like, and I'll use a simple example, like I'll always say, when we're young and we might be going to school, you might be actually saying, you know what, I don't want to go to school today. I'll go tomorrow. I'll miss a class. But there's always going to be a payback. If we don't do things right, there's going to be a consequence tomorrow. So living purposely and knowing why we're doing things and completing things that we're supposed to say, if we say we're going to do something, do it, and have a purpose of whatever action that we take. The purpose of personal integrity. To me, that's really high because I always believe that when you say you're going to do something, you have to do it. If you're not sure if you're not going to do it, don't say you're going to do it because that's your integrity. It's your name. And it holds a lot of value because when they say the name of the person, knowing that that person is responsible and knowing that when you ask someone, a friend, can you do this, please? Or can you be with me at this time? You can count on that individual. And the same thing goes for you. They know that you're someone that's high integrity. If you say you're going to do something, you're going to be there, or you're going to do whatever you say you do, and you value high integrity. Next. Strength. Your pattern of attitudes and skills that during the stressful circumstances enhance performance, leadership, moral, and stamina, and health. Again, your strength is going to dictate all of this. If you have a good strength, you actually are going to be much more healthier because you have a leadership, you also have high morals and stamina. So this is something that is very useful for all of us in everything we do. Next. Components of strength: commitment to life, control, and challenge. And we're going to see this one next. The benefits of strength, relationships between strength and health. The strength reduces both physical, psychological, and signs of stress. Strength may decrease the likelihood of illness and performance breakdowns, even under conditions of great stress. Having a non-strength approach to handling stress causes more damage than help. Sometimes we think we can do things, we don't know how to do things, and we get more stressed. And when you get stressed, your body is feeling it, you're reacting to it. A lot of times, sometimes you can get an upset stomach, people get ulcers. You can get so many health problems with stress. And again, is knowing what's your strength dealing with stressful situations. And again, if you have a good control, all of it is decreased and you have less illnesses, you'll have less breakdowns because you're actually conditioning yourself to work better under stress, and you're controlling the stress as you're moving along. Next. The strength practice, coping. How do we cope when things happen, when emergency happens? And again, when we were talking a little bit earlier, knowing everything of the situation, the outcomes, when you have all the information that you need, you'll be coping better and making better decisions. attitudes. Now, attitudes dictate a lot because nobody controls our attitude, only ourselves. Sometimes we may be feeling bad and our attitude will be showing and we see things very negative instead of seeing them for what they are. We can see more into things when they're not really that bad. So our attitudes, we have to know to control our attitudes in different situations so that we can also be more healthier. Knowing your social support, knowing who you can count on, who can you ask advice, or you can talk to them about whatever situation you have, and you know that that person is going to listen to you and is going to give you some ideas and suggestions, and they're not telling you what to do, they're just giving you information. And having someone that you can trust and someone you can count with is very important. The health practices, taking care of yourself, eating the right things, sleeping the right amount of hours that we need so our body can rest, eating healthy, and also practicing exercise, even if it's 10, 15 minutes, whatever you can do, it's something that's going to help you in the long run. Next. Session 5, nutrition. Oh my God, this was such a good one. Everything you eat and drink over time matters. Yes, it does. When we're younger, we tend to eat everything we want, and sometimes you never gain weight. You don't know why, but you just don't gain weight and nothing happens. But then as the years start coming up, we start noticing we're gaining weight. Maybe our blood pressure is high, maybe cholesterol is high, and it's all about what we've been doing and how we've been treating our nutrition. The right mix can help you be healthier. And again, it's going to be impacting our future. And we have to start with small changes that make healthier choices that you can enjoy. Because sometimes when we say, oh my God, I have to lose weight. We can go very drastically, and a lot of people will stop eating all kinds of carbs and only go into liquid diets. But those sometimes are just temporary, and then they go back to their old ways of eating. So that's why you have to make small changes and things that are healthier for you, but things that you can continue. Not things that we're going to just do for 1 week or 2 weeks, and then we're going to go back to our regular nutrition style, which sometimes we're not taking care of ourselves. So always start small, set small goals for yourself so that you can see how you're feeling about everything you're doing and all the changes that are taking place in your life. Next. Physical exercise. Some physical activities are better than none. The more active you are, the more you will be benefit. They say a body in motion stays in motion. So remember, the more we do, our body gets accustomed to it and you'll be able to move more freely. If we stop doing certain exercises sometimes, or sometimes even just playing ball. If you haven't played ball for a long time and you play one day, the next day you're going to be sore. And there's simple activities, but it's because our bodies are not accustomed to doing it. So again, staying in motion and moving is the best thing you can have, and it's a great benefit for you. Next. Stress. There are many sources of stress in life. Managing stress is an important factor to being healthy. And not everybody does a good job of managing stress, especially at certain times in their lives. And this is so true. As we are growing, as we're seeing more things happen with our everyday life, sometimes it becomes very stressful because sometimes we start hearing a lot of, like in this pandemic that we had, I'm so grateful we're moving forward and everything is coming back to normal. But I think the past few months have been very hard on everybody. Just being isolated puts a lot of stress on us. Not being able to talk to the people that you care for or see the individuals you see every day, or taking walks or going to the places, the library or going to the park, and places that you used to use all the time. It makes it stressful, but knowing also why we're taking care of ourselves and why we're staying separated reduces the stress because you're taking care of yourself and making sure that you know where you are and why things are happening and why we're doing things that we do at a certain time, so that your stress levels can be lower and we don't feel worse because we're taking care of ourselves and we were trying to make sure that we have healthy and that we didn't get sick or anything like that. So this is something that we have to keep for ourselves, how we're managing our stress on everyday life, and things that we can control and things that we cannot control, and how we deal with them. Next. Techniques for handling stress, positive talk. This is something that we have to do. Sometimes we can be so hard on ourselves. We can be more compassionate when we see things happening to others, but when it comes to ourselves, we're harder to ourselves. And making sure that we don't say, like, if I don't know how to do something, and like Anna mentioned earlier, when we started with this, we didn't know how to do Zoom. We would log in, it would log us out, and it was so stressful. But at that moment, I could feel like, oh my God, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how I'm going to function. How can I do this work? And it's just learning that everything takes practice and it takes time. And now we're all comfortable. Even when we get kicked out of a Zoom, we come back and log back again, like nothing, because again, we've learned. So knowing that nothing stays the same forever, and we can make changes to make this positive. Emergency stress stoppers, like knowing what can you do, like when you're having a hard time, who can you go to, who can you talk to, and finding out everything that's going on in the situation that you're worried about. How can we make this stop, and how can we see, for example, what are the pros, what are the cons, and how we move forward. Finding pleasure, what are the things that make you happy? And one of the things that I've noticed is most of the things that give us pleasure are free. They don't cost anything. You can go walking on the beach, and it's so relaxing and it's so beautiful. And you're just walking, you're not paying for walk. You can go to the park. We have so many places here where you can actually participate in relaxation. And there's also a lot of apps available that you can download and utilize so that it can help you relax. And again, these are things that we can have just with a stretch of your hand, or just walking out, walking in your surroundings where you feel safe and you feel comfortable and you enjoy that. And this goes with your physical exercise. When you're walking in the beach, or you're walking in the park, or you're just walking maybe in the shopping center, wherever you like to walk, and watching people, it relaxes you. Talking about a problem with others and getting different ideas, getting scenarios of what else can I do, just getting information is actually something that's going to help you a lot. Next. Sleep. Oh yeah, good sleep quality is essential. Do you know that when you sleep your number of hours, 8 hours that you're supposed to, you actually look younger? And when we don't sleep our hours, we look tired, and we can actually age sooner than we're supposed to, because our body is deprived of that sleep. If you wake up tired, fatigued, trying to figure out why don't I get enough sleep or enough quality, it's sometimes we have things in our head, our mind, and your mind is still working even when you're trying to sleep. You have so many things going on in your head, but we have to be able to stop our thoughts so that we can relax. So you can use maybe some soothing music, or make sure that you don't have no television in your room, that everything's dark, or something where you can relax, feel safe, and try to sleep the number of hours, 8 hours that you're supposed to be sleeping, so that you'll feel so much better. And when you wake in the morning, you're going to be refreshed and ready to hit it all and start all over again. Next. On session 6, let's go. Relationships and social support. The quality of social support that you receive from family and friends is the most important social health determinant. And that is really, really true. I believe that when we have a good relationship, we have a good support mechanism, is even when we're having a hard time or things come our way, you know that you're going to be okay because you have those individuals around you. It can be your friends, your family, but you have someone's backing you. Somebody's there for you. And even if it's hard times, they'll give you good advice. They'll tell you, don't worry, we're going to be here with you. And you're going to find out what can I do about this? What are the different scenarios that are going on? And you can see all the different things that you can do to move forward. But having good relationships, having individuals that you can count, you can call on the phone or you can text, is huge, because sometimes we need to reach out to people and you have to know what is your support mechanism? Who are the people that you can count in such an emergency? Or even just to tell them, how are you doing? Okay, can you help me? I'm going through a bad, I don't feel too good right now. Can we talk? It's really important. So always surround yourself with individuals that you trust and that you support them as they support you. That's crucial on relationships. Next, relationship stability and social support. Links between marriage and better health outcomes have been documented in hundreds of studies with both mental and physical health benefits. Marital distress leads to depression and reduces immune functioning. When you're really stressed, you do get sick because your immune system goes low and you tend to feel sick or get colds much faster than any time. A good marriages are linked to long-term survival in heart patients, including faster recovery after surgery. Happily married people live longer and healthier lives than divorced or unhappy married couples. If you're in a not good relationship, a toxic relationship, this is going to drain you. And this is not only in a marriage, but it's also on friendships or on acquaintances. Sometimes certain acquaintances or relationships we have are toxic. And those are the ones that I would say you have to avoid because they'll bring you down. You might be feeling great, but after you meet with that person, you're feeling, oh my God, you're feeling blue. So avoid those and look for those relationships where they actually help you and they support you. Next. Communication skills. Communication and problem-solving skills are important in determining the quality of interpersonal relationships, amount of stress you experience, and your success in the workplace. Yes. Capacity to communicate about your needs, listen to others caringly, and find mutually acceptance solutions to conflicts influence the amount of social support you can get from family and friends. Again, our communication skills are essential. Likewise with health and care providers. Being able to communicate and determine, our interpersonal relationships is really crucial. And knowing where we stand, our capacity to communicate and how we relate to others. When you have good communication skills, you work much better in your work and your home or with your friends. And again, this is gonna be linked into your health. And also with health providers, how do you feel knowing to get assistance when you need it? And you keep whatever information or things that you have to do to be healthier, you continue doing that. Next. Communication skills, hear the message, speak the truth, work it out. Excellent. Next. Basic communication skills, listening, confronting, problem solving. Next. Session 7. Again, here are primary factors of health. The psychological factors are coping styles, our self-trust, self-esteem, and strength. Biological factors, nutrition, physical exercise, stress, and sleep. And our social factors, relationship stability, and communication skills. Next. Health is created by human beings within the setting of their everyday life where we learn, work, play, and live, and with whom we interact and love. And I think this is something that we do every day, and we have to keep this in mind and always take care of ourselves as we're moving forward. Next. Thank you all for attending. I know this was the last slide already. Thank you for attending. And please, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat box. I hope that this was informational for you. As I mentioned, when Anna and I took this training, we realized that we were not eating well. we were not sleeping well, and we were not doing things to keep ourselves working harder and better, working smarter, not harder. So I hope that this was helpful for you. And thank you so much for attending. And we are also looking forward to seeing you tomorrow at 1 o'clock for our next workshop that we have. I don't have, sorry, I can't see it, Anna.
Oh, let me put it back for you. It's, oh, let me put it back. So they
Mapping?
I'll put it back.
Thank you, Lupita.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the Getting Healthy course. If you have any questions, let us know. And let me put it back on the first page. Let me see if I can do a control
It's
home.
mapping.
Doesn't let me go back. I have to go.
Thank you so much, ladies. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
You too, John C.
The vision
Bye.
board, there it is.
Mhm.
Creating a vision board tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So we hope to see you here tomorrow. And thank you so much for being with us today. Have a great day.
The
Bye,
presentation
guys.
was amazing. Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, thank you, Tamar.
Maria, did you stop recording?
No, I'm trying to find it.
It's the little button.
Correction chat. My God, where is it? Pause recording. Stop recording there. Yes.